excited that you guys are here. I'm Melissa Alaba, group practice owner, breakthrough coach, and therapist. And I'm super excited. I'm here with Miss Jamerica Strickland, one of our most amazing therapists. So glad that you're here, Jamerica.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yes. So today we're talking about brain overload. We're talking about how I done booked things back to back today. So I totally am in that space of what is this? So first of all, what's brain overload? What do you consider that to be?
So, brain overload is when our brain is just literally bombarded with so many things happening, lots of noise. And sometimes it looks and feels like being overwhelmed, just mentally overwhelmed. Yes.
Sometimes when I think of brain overload, I just think of people saying I'm all over the place, I'm
Mm-hmm.
scattered. Or like for me, I don't ever feel like I'm scattered, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I could schedule things pretty tight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to move through each one. And that also can cause like a little bit of a jam,
Absolutely.
and things. So tell me, how do you move past that? What's some of the tips that you want to share?
Absolutely. So, some tips I would like to share here. My favorite, and this is one of my specialties, is mindfulness, which is literally being aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and your surroundings, remaining in the present moment, staying mindful is a great tip. It brings about a lot of mental clarity because our brain is a muscle. And so the same way is if we're running miles and miles and miles and miles, marathons and all kind of stuff. And if we're not equipped for that, we start to shut down a little bit.
Mhm.
So so it's very similar, mindfulness, being present, understanding, what what marathon your mind is running at the time and how to be equipped with running that marathon mentally.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
also, for me, when I think of the overload, I'll have clients just write everything out that they're thinking,
Mm-hmm.
especially like my business clients write all of their ideas out and journal them. And I call that
Mm-hmm.
dump because
Mm-hmm.
once you get it out your brain, now we're able to categorize it, figure out when that's going to take place,
Mm-hmm.
and not feel overwhelmed by it, especially like if you are a mom, you're also a team member, whether that's an employee or you run your own business, you're also in a relationship and
Yeah.
you're thinking of all the things that need to happen for everybody, including
Mm-hmm.
yourself, like getting it out of your head and on paper often can just relieve that stress too. It's like, oh, okay, this is all manageable.
Absolutely, because when we're technically not supposed to multitask. And what I mean by that is our brain literally can only function efficiently on one thing at a time. So if I get everything out in a nice little neat organized fashion, I give myself that much more chance of being able to accurately focus in on one thing at a time. And I can avoid that brain overload because I have my single focus right now. Everything is in clear view and it brings that clarity. I would also say scheduling in mental breaks are good too. So
Yeah.
get you a nice routine. If you're a person, you got a lot going on. You got a lot on your mind. Get you some mental break scheduling. Get you a morning routine, a bedtime routine going. Take some time away from that phone. Turn off your notifications. Make sure you're taking those breaks in the middle of the day if you need it. Scheduling some mental space. So time where you're not always actively thinking about all the things will actually induce more clarity for you.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I call that white space. So having white space
Hmm.
day, for me, that's like making sure that I always have lunch.
Yep.
And on a, yeah, because a lot of times people will schedule right over lunch. I never do. I always have an hour that I schedule
Hmm.
for lunch. And in between clients, I always schedule in 15 minutes. So today
Yeah.
different because we're taping, but on a regular day when I have to do a lot of work of focusing on the person in front of me, it's always 15 minutes of a rest break between each client. But that allows me to show up my best and to have that time that you talked about. I would also add, since we're talking about time, is time blocking. I'm always, people are always surprised about how much I get done, but I time block. And like you were saying, you can only do so much with time that we're all given, right? But if I time block that I'm going to work on this particular thing on this particular day, or I organize my week on Mondays and I time block 2 hours just for that. It then sets me up to be more successful throughout the rest of the week. Yeah. And I think those are ways in which, like, everybody knows it. Like you said, we know these things, but sometimes having like that reminder of like, girl, you don't need to be doing all the things at once.
Right. Right, exactly. The same way, again, I love comparing it to the physical. We would not be running 24 hours straight. We would not. That's ridiculous, right? You have to schedule in those breaks. It's so important. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yep. And that's all the things, I started this thing and I was looking at the calendar today. It was like on my phone, and I started this thing where I'm gonna get my 10,000 steps in before 8 a.m.
Okay.
Oh, that's been going pretty amazing, which means I have to be in the bed by 9:30, so I can pop up around 6. And I was looking at my calendar, she sent me this notification, and it said for the last 5 weeks, you've averaged 8,000 steps a day. And I was like, girl, come on.
Wow.
Because I just do it Monday through Friday. So weekend is like whatever happens during the weekend, and I'm usually gonna have an activity in there. But I was like, all right, I see you compared to the previous 5 weeks, which was 3,500 steps. That was my average. I was like, OMG, just deciding to make that change and then scheduling it in, it works wonders.
Yeah. Schedule it in. Don't allow yourself to keep running that mental marathon. Organize it out, create your charts, schedule everything in. And I love that you mentioned an activity. Yeah, not only create a clear space, do a mentally rejuvenating activity, something that's going to not only allow you to have that break, but to actually reinstill that energy so you can wake up refreshed or whatever the case may be, or get throughout the day the best way that you can and handle all the things without being overloaded.
Absolutely. So before we check out today, do you have anything else that you'd like to share with us?
I think that would be all for now. Again, just, definitely want to make sure to remain aware. Remain aware of what's going on. Schedule things out as best as you can. Have that routine, have those checkout or checkpoint moments of clear space, and get some good rejuvenating activities throughout the day. Incorporate that throughout the day. Yoga, meditation, going for a walk, being in nature, whatever you need to do to give yourself a break from that mental marathon so we won't be overloaded.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Jamerica. And as usual, if you want to work with Jamerica, contact us at visionworkscoaching.com. You can reach out to Jasmine as well, and she will get you scheduled. This has been an awesome segment. All right, guys, talk with you soon. And thanks so much.